We all know the costs associated with collecting comic books, but in 2022, those might have changed just a little bit. Let's talk about it. So as you saw in this video, I want to outline some of the costs associated with collecting comic books in 2022. We've already seen the market, how it's been the last couple of years of COVID, and we're entering year 3 right now. But not just everything that happens with the secondary market, we're going to talk about the industry damn near as a whole. And I kind of highlighted a few key areas just for note, and then just kind of spur the conversation. So we're going to start with the most obvious one, just the rising costs of comic books themselves. So new issues, back issues, all of them have all kind of seen different increases in certain areas. Obviously, most standard issues are still going to be $3.99. We've seen that for some time now, but we've also seen an increase in some of those special issues, either annuals or event issues, sometimes running $4.99, $5.99. And then you get to the special anniversary issues, commemorative issues, $7.99, $8.99, even up $9.99. So those are putting a strain on people's wallets and bank accounts all across the board. And then we already know about back issues, and back issues have been insane last few years. They're kind of probably depends on what you're looking at, what you're into, and you might have seen either decreases or maybe just kind of plateau, or maybe no change at all, again, depending on what you're into. But if you're into Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age stuff, even some of the modern books, especially if they have a hint of speculation attached to them, which we'll kind of get into soon, you've seen those prices have skyrocketed. Even in the beginning of COVID, I remember just having some time and I was on some serious eBay kick, and I was able to score a bunch of books what I thought were fantastic prices. And then looking at some of those books, even just a couple months later, 2-3 months later, like some of those books like just jumped up dozens of bucks, and I just couldn't understand. It was like I was happy I was able to kind of get in and get a bunch of books that I was after and scratch some other interesting books off my want list. But just seeing what happened just later through that year, and especially towards the end of the year, it was just insane to see what happened with the comic book market. Now we kind of touched on speculation, as I said. Part of that is absolutely due to that, and it's just been absolutely insane. MCU, DCEU, the TV shows, Disney Plus, and CW have a whole catalog of shows from the last few years, and they're steadily adding content to them, which is of course driving speculation. And it doesn't help when you have YouTubers and bloggers, content creators. You can probably just view any number of videos, and every third YouTuber said they heard a rumor. They heard a rumor so-and-so is going to be coming to the big screen. This character, this storyline is going to be hitting the small screen soon. So everybody's dropping those. All these hot lists. Everybody's got a top 10 hot list based on who knows what data they pulled out of absolutely nowhere. All these apps offering up, oh, look at these key books. For whatever reason, the 15th appearance of Mr. Fucking Nobody, but everybody's got a key. So all these other books are just jumping up, and books that you could find in dollar bin last couple years, even months ago, all of a sudden, now they're $20, $30, $40 books. Why? And most of the time people just going with it and just kind of throwing out there, oh, I heard a rumor, this is a key book, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So that's driving the cost of back issue prices. And then we got to look at, because you're not just having your books just stacked up and just kind of laying around taking damage. You got to store them someplace. You got to take care of them, which segues into our next topic, storage. So now we have, what are you looking at with your storage supplies? So we are seeing the supply chain issues, and obviously storage bags and boards have been on short supply. Certain shops are able to kind of recruit them faster, different companies. I know someone mentioned in my comments in a previous post that Ultra Pro, they were able to get some backing boards directly, or bags directly from their website. But talk about the prices of backing boards, all those in short supply. So if you're able to come across those, get them while you can, I guess. And like tons of different companies out there, depending on, and some people are pretty particular. When I'm picking up bags and boards, I like to try to keep it as consistent as possible. Pick up those same ones. But just looking at my collection over the years, there's going to be a complete mix of bags and boards from different companies. Even just some of the styles of bags are a little bit different, but that's just kind of what happens after years of collecting and just having a vast number of books. But that's just another part of that. But then you also have to look at just absolute shortages. So it's not even just that the prices are going up, but because of the shortages, which kind of in turn stimulated those price increases, but you're just not able to find things. Now, I know a lot of people use short boxes, long boxes. I don't use those. I have a couple short boxes that I've gotten from shops for different things, but usually for free, just for picking up a ton of books, or I bought a small collection and I came in the short box. So I have those, but I use plastic containers, these plastic totes. And for a while, I was not able to get those. I like getting those. Actually, I have a box right here, Sterilite. I use the 30-quart containers, and those have been my go-to for several years. So most of my comic collection is stored in those. And I like to get those in boxes of 6. I just like order a box of 6 and have those just like that. But for a while, I wasn't able to find them. I get them from Walmart, walmart.com, nothing. The store was complete out of them several months. Finally popped back up online. I ordered 2 sets of those. So I have some of those sitting around waiting to be used, which I absolutely needed because I was running short on places to put them. I was storing all my extra books that I was pulling in just regular boxes that I was getting from, some diamond boxes, but from mycomicshop.com or from one of the comic shops that I went to. And I'm usually able to get boxes from there because I'm bringing home a bunch of books. But that's just another thing that's kind of going into that you need to consider this year, those shortages. But now, depending on what you use, how you store your books, some people might not be a problem, or some people are able to get by. Like I said, I was able just to get by fine for right now, but as I get into a mass reorganization, those ones that I was able to just pick up recently are going to be a big help towards that goal right there, which is going to be quite the task. So storage, all that stuff, we have rising prices in shipping supply or storing supplies, and just outright shortages. But how are we getting the books? They're not just popping up at your door. They're not just showing up at the shop through sheer dope boy magic. So we got to talk about shipping issues. And both of these points I'm kind of outline here are actually going to work well with the next topic as well, which we'll get into. But shipping issues. So we've already seen the price increases in shipping. I think USPS has kind of do that yearly. I think someone has said. I'm not as in tune with what they do on a yearly basis, but their prices are increasing. So looking at priority shipping, first class, whatever your method of shipping, or even just when you're buying books, you might see a price increase on eBay. Now, sometimes some of those are exorbitant if you've been on eBay for any number of times. Sometimes dealers might have like $3, $4, $5 for like, that's just your first shipping rate, whatever, and like combined shipping, then you'll see something additional, but just that standard shipping rate. But I saw one from one dealer the other day, it was like $10, $12 for one single issue. What are you shipping it with? What are you doing? Like, how are you doing that? I don't understand. But just even through them now worldwide, I don't know what's going on in other countries. I don't know how that works. But I imagine if you're shipping international, those prices, yeah, no doubt about it. Now, if anybody in my international viewers out there, if you want to talk about just some of the shipping costs that you're seeing in the comments below, feel free to share that and we can talk about that. Absolutely interested to hear that. But sometimes I don't know if I ever bought comics from Canada. I might have maybe once or twice on eBay, but it's been pretty rare. So I usually kind of limit it to North America, or to US anyway, just because of the prices. And international, hell no, I'm not buying. I see a lot of UK listings. I'm not buying any comics from the UK. Are you kidding? Paying $20, $30 for a comic book, one single comic book. There are some international books that I've been after, or not I say after, but I was just kind of doing some research, seeing what the prices were, and from like Italy and wherever else. It's like, oh, okay, you know what, I might consider doing that, but those would be special cases, which I'm kind of like going in like, okay, I'm okay with those shipping prices because this is a book I can't get from the US, so got to get it from the home country again. Like Italy is a prominent example. But those shipping and delays as well, we saw that a lot through early in the pandemic. Everybody's shipments were taking forever. On my comic shop shipments, when they used to be, I think when I first started them, I could get them, they would ship that Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I could get them that Saturday. And all of a sudden it started being the following Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now. And it's been pretty much, I can count on them coming the following Wednesday. So a week after they ship, I'm getting them versus 3-4 days. And it's not that big of a deal, but that's just something to consider. And if you're dealing with eBay or any of these other other sites besides just regular dealers from either probably Whatnot or vendors on Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, whatever else, you could probably anticipate not getting those books for several days longer than what you might have been accustomed to. That's just a fact. Just a fact that you just kind of have to deal with as we head into 2022. Those things will get longer. Those prices will increase even further. And then another thing, as I talked about with those two same points, we can shift into graded comics, because yes, rising prices and delays are a major factor in those as well. If you're into getting graded comics, these are two aspects you need to take into serious consideration when you're getting into them. No matter which company you choose, I don't deal with graded books, but I imagine there's going to be pretty consistent across the board. CGC, PGX, CBCS. I don't even know if is there another graded company out there? I don't know. I don't even deal with them. But the CGC just announced some more price increases after doing that last year, which had all the graded collectors and wheelers and dealers not too happy. And some people have kind of been doing the math and it's kind of seeing how much of an increase on different tiers. And again, I don't deal with graded comics. Sometimes I'll research specific books to see what those prices are. But if you want to get into, just go to head over to CGC's website and you can kind of see the details if you're interested in specifics. But there's just something that you need to consider. And delays have been a constant. They're just getting an influx of books. I guess one of their price increases last year was centered around handling that influx of books and maybe increasing staff and whatever else. But they're still just kind of having those delays. And at some point, I know somebody said that they were all caught up. I don't know how that works, because a lot of people are still waiting on books. And I see in plenty of other people's videos, they're talking about they're waiting on books from last year, the year before. So that is, if you, especially if you are into buying and selling and you're picking up books and you get sending them in to get graded, hoping to get them back to sell. If you're on a speculation train, like that window can close quick because you're waiting for a book, and now those months that it's sitting at CGC, not in your hands to be sold, some of those books are cooling off and now you've lost value. So what are you gonna do? Like, there's a cost associated with everything. That's what this whole video is about. The cost, there's opportunity costs as well, and you can kind of see the through line through all of these points. So that's, if you're into graded books, depending on the different tiers, kind of whatever else, you're gonna have to look at that. So again, do the math, weigh the pros and cons, and you'll kind of find your way at that, because yeah, those, I don't imagine any of those are gonna slow down anytime soon as far as price increases. They just announced theirs. Do we just announce one? Do we anticipate them announcing another one later this year, next year? Who knows? Who knows what the hell the comic market is going to look like in the upcoming year? But then it's also, you could get into, if you want to get into conspiracy theories, like, hey, it's just them, like, all right, we know all these people are sending in books to get graded to sell. So, hey, let's cash in on that as well and bring in a few more, take a few more bucks for ourselves and charge you some more. That's more money for us. And you just got to kind of see, I don't know. If you're heavy into CGC, what do you think about, not just CGC, but all graded comics? What do you think about their price increase, and has that affected you? If you're strictly CGC, are you going over to CBS, PGX? What do you think? What have you seen about the prices? Just kind of share some of your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Looking forward to hear that if you're into graded comics like that. And then, because I'm not one to be all doom and gloom, let's talk about deals. Yes, there are still deals to be found out there. Are you gonna have to work a little harder to find them? Possibly, but they are absolutely still out there. Now, the days of going to garage sales and finding massive sets of keys for cheap, those are probably done, but you're probably still able to get out there, find garage sales, estate sales, storage unit sales, and all those kind of things. You're still able to find those. Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, you probably still will be able to find good deals depending on what you're after. Now, if you're after all the major keys that are tied, either just all the major keys or ones that are tied to speculation for movies, TV shows, and all that type of stuff, all the rumor mill stuff. Now, those, are you going to be able to find a good deal on? Not likely, but it's going to be, if you are, it's going to be pretty rare. You're going to probably come across a deal from someone who doesn't know what they're doing, which is so possible. Lots of people out there who were gifted comic books and don't know anything about comic books and they just want to get rid of them. A lot of people just have them stored from family members. Somebody might have passed, or trying to get rid of their stuff. Hey, they have 2,000 comic books. I don't know anything to do about them, but I just want to get rid of them and just get some kind of money towards whatever else. So that's still possible out there. And then don't forget the major point that a lot of people on YouTube especially have tried to get across: getting the hobby to fund itself by whatever means possible. If you're into, like, if you're into buying and selling, you're buying books, selling books to buy other books. If you will and deal with toys, a lot of people do that as well. statues. People are picking up toys and statues. Like, oh, you know what? I don't need this one anymore. Oh, maybe I got a good deal on this one, and it might be good trade bait for something else that I want for a big book. So you might be able to do that, just wheeling, dealing, whatever you have, other stuff, even just stuff around the house that aren't even comic book, toy, nerd related. You might just, oh, you know what? I don't need this stuff anymore. I can get rid of it. Store it up maybe in your PayPal account and kind of put that towards a purchase. Like, hey, you know what? I'm after this big book, and by the summer, I should have enough to get it, and you'd be able to find and entertain and look at some, like seriously look at some, like, all right, you know what? I may be able to do that. I have a few books that I'm looking at this year. I was like, oh, okay, that are pretty attainable, and maybe I might drop a 2022 book watch, or just something that a list of books that I'm after this year. I may end up doing that. Who knows? If you're interested in that, let me know. But yeah, just having a hobby fund itself, there are different means to do that. I've talked about that before. I dropped a video on that. eBay bucks. Just buying and selling stuff that you have. Like, those are just a couple ways. I'll post the link to that video before, so if you haven't seen that before, you can check that out. Just kind of give you just some tips on being able to do that and just kind of growing your comic collection or whatever you're after without breaking your own bank too much. But yeah, so that's deals. And then the last one, because we started with the actual financial costs, so we're going to bookend this with another big cost: time. This is the undervalued cost of being a comic fan, comic collector, comic reader. If you're interested in comics as a medium, in whatever aspect of, like, again, as far as either buying and selling, reading, collecting, time is huge, because you're going to spend a lot of time. If you're talking about deals, you're going to be spending a lot of time looking for deals, like work into it, or whatever you, I'm trying to think of, let your finger through the walking kind of thing, like a phone, but online, looking for deals, searching, and either through apps, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, whatnot, whatever else, eBay, and either local newspapers, just finding deals, garage sales, estate sales, all that type of thing. Even estate sales, the estate sales is .net, .org, whatever it is. I have the app on my phone. You can search different areas, like search for distance, search for keywords, all that type of stuff. But that's going to take time. If you're a content creator, you have to factor in making video, what it takes to go into a video. Even this video, I spent a lot of time just plotting down my notes, my main talking points, and like some of the specific ideas and how I wanted this video to kind of flow. And that's time. That's time from reading, time from going through my collection, and even just organizing is a significant task. Especially as your collection grows, which will be the subject of another video I have coming, what to do as your collection grows. So those are all the things. If you're researching books, like you're looking at, sometimes I will look at storylines. Oh, never heard of storyline. What is this about? As I talked about with the character Wright, who was a Superman and Supergirl villain. That was time. I was looking at this character's backstory. Okay, so he appeared this issue, and these are his powers. This is his backstory. He's a scientist, and he came with this power to, I forgot what he did actually, but I found through the course of doing some research, I found out he was able to create clones. I don't know, clones or duplicates of himself. I don't say clones, but he was able to do that, and if he manufactured it somehow. I can't remember exactly, but that was time, because I went into looking at, okay, what books was he in? He's part of this storyline. He was involved with this team. This like Superman, I don't know if it was called Revenge Squad, but something like that. But that was time. So I'm researching books and going through your want list and looking at my collection, because I have, again, once direct editions were kind of in place, everything after that, 1979, that's what I want in my collection. I don't care for newsstands after that point. Before that, absolutely. But after that point, I want all direct editions. So I looked through my collection, and I just found some X-Men books some time ago. So before you saw it at my C2E2 haul, I talked about that, how I picked up some X-Men books that were some direct editions to upgrade from the newsstand editions that I've had in my collection for years. So that was something else. Like, okay, so now I have to spend more time with that. If you're buying and selling books like frequently, that's an influx of books that you need to like be on top of, because if you're hitting multiple shops like I've done before, C2E2, you're at conventions or wherever else, and if you're picking up a bunch of books, like I have to make note of those, because I'm not going to catalog each book into my League of Comic Geeks collection, because I'm in the middle of like a convention or wherever else, if I'm in multiple shows or multiple shops in a day, going from one shop to another, I'm not going to do all that one by one. So what I'll try to do quickly is just make a note in my, I use the InkPad app, and make a list of all the books that I just bought and do that. So it's easy reference. So when I go to another booth, if I'm at a convention or to the next shop, I don't have to flip through, all right, which books did I just buy? So I don't go in this next shop and buy a duplicate, especially if you're buying 20, 30 books at one shop and looking at who knows however many at the next shop, especially if you're dealing with sales. So that's just something that you have to do, because you don't want to end up with duplicates and you just wasting money for no reason. You just could go to somewhere else. But time, again, that's why I say undervalued, because it's not usually so. You're usually not keeping track of how much time you spend within the hobby of collecting. You're tracking your money, obviously, because you want to see how much you're spending, but you're not taking time. Okay, now you just lost an hour. Not lost, but you just spent an hour researching some books or whatever else. You're not keeping track of how much time you spend reading. You're just enjoying the book, hopefully, unless it's just a terrible book, then that time might just seem wasted. But you're just sitting there enjoying the book, a stack of books, a trade, whatever else, and like that's just what it is. So that time is always there. Opportunity cost is heavy, as I said. That's kind of the through line throughout all of these points. So those are just some of the costs associated with collecting comic books in 2022, and that list is by no means exhaustive. So if you have some of your own input that I didn't touch on here, feel free to share that in the comments below. I'm definitely interested in seeing what you all have to say, as we all have our own reading and collecting taste, and we all navigate the aspects of this hobby in different ways. So you can definitely share those. I look forward to seeing what you have to say, and just to keep this conversation going forward. So happy reading, happy hunting, happy collecting. This is GENO'S Comics. Thanks for watching, and peace out.